an F-16. The question's real, I stole an F-16. Flip the master, all the lights begin to feel. I stole an F-16. Set the fuel pump, start the number 2. I stole an F-16. Engines whining as the turbines chew. I stole an F-16. Turn the RER power on bright. I stole an F-16.
Good morning, or I should say evening, ladies and gentlemen. We just finished up 2 full days of shooting over here in Rapid City. We have a bunch of people down in the basement right now, so you might hear pool table and yelling and screaming down there. We got Lance, Weekend Gunner, Logan sucks at shooting, Wes is down there, Spencer, and I think that's everybody. If I forgot somebody, I apologize. But I hope you're all having a wonderful day. The match actually went extremely well. Extremely well. Perhaps it's the biggest match I've ever been to, and it's perhaps the match that I did the best at. For a very brief moment in time, I was first place in carry optics after the first 2 squads. And then one of the other guys finished the last stage and blew me away. But for a very brief moment in time, I was doing well. What lip gloss do I use? It's actually called Sunburn. It's called Sunburn from sun exposure, unfortunately, because, yeah, 2 days in the sun, about 16 hours worth of hanging out on the range, and I feel like absolute garbage right now. That's not exactly what I said. That's similar, but not exactly what I said. Ah, thank you, Shadow Force. Always first place in your hearts. But I felt like I didn't stream last night because we had a lot of stuff going on. So why not do something today, right? A little bit. Talk about Q for a minute because Q may be in the right for this. We'll see what you guys think about it. But, you know, also, I do want to say that I met a lot of really cool guys at Area 3 over here in Rapid City. A lot of people coming up and saying hi, saying, what do you do, fellow WNs? Not YNs, no YNs around here, but fellow WNs. Hope you're doing well. So to everybody that came out and shot and I met, thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, we'll go ahead and kind of, now the guys downstairs, they might come up here a little bit later and crash the stream a bit and we can talk about Area 3 a little bit more. But for now, I think we're going to talk about Q, everybody's favorite wacky man. Now, if you're not familiar with Q, he's probably best surmised by him in the special hot tub with James Reeves. Let's see if I can find that up real fast. All right. Am I wearing lipstick? No, I'm sunburnt. My lips are so dry and agitated. Look red. I'm self-conscious about it. Don't mention it. Let's see. Is there a hot tub photo of him? Awkward things I'd never think I'd say for 500. Kevin Brittingham hot tub. Let's see. If I have to see it, then you guys have to see it. It's in their TFB TV video. Anyways, Kevin Brittingham of Q makes some cool stuff, makes some wacky stuff. Some of the stuff works really well, some of the stuff not so well. It's but the problem with Q, at least as far as I see it, is more his online presence, which makes people love or hate him more than anything. The products, they have their issues, they have their place, probably some of them. Some of the stuff that he develops is very cool, I would say. I do like some of the stuff. Some of the stuff, maybe not so much. Maybe they just, lie about it. Brassfax did a great video on the fix yesterday where I was featured in the end of it. And I was severely unimpressed with a $3,000 Q fix. And I would never buy one, never recommend someone buy one. And if somebody handed me one today, I would not shoot it. What a miserable piece of gear for the amount of money you pay for that. But the other day, somebody posted this: why Shark Coast Tactical broke up with Q. And they talk about why they, as a dealer, though spending, what is it, $1.5 million on Q products, which is more than I would wish upon my worst enemy. They're no longer dealing with them because of some of their QC and customer service issues. But maybe I have a different take. Maybe I have a different take on it. Which is why it says in defense of Q, question mark? Because as somebody who deals with customers, let me tell you, some customers are just retarded. Like, it happens. People like say they have an issue with something, they send it into you, you test it, you do all the things you're supposed to do to it, and you're like, it's running fine, it's accurate, it's doing what it needs to do, and they'll just continue to be bad customers. So sometimes customers are just wrong. Just wrong. Lehenda says the Q fix video is very disappointing. I expected better. I think the Q fix has been bad since the start. Like, the action is horrible. Like, probably the worst action I've ever felt in a bolt action rifle. The trigger is mediocre. Like, literally the best trigger ever made is literally mediocre. It's, again, it might be okay in an AR. I wouldn't like it in an AR, but for a bolt gun, like, terrible, garbage. Why is the show early and straight? Well, it's because me and the boys are going out to a steak dinner, and we have reservations at 7. So I have to stream at 4 so that I can be done for that. Yeah, so terrible action, terrible trigger. Magazines kind of work. PMags, it's cool that it has PMag support, right? But there's a reason precision bolt guns don't use PMags. So, I don't know. And for a $3,500 gun, who cares if the mags are expensive? Right? Who cares? Like, what do you, like, obviously, magazine capacity, we don't care about that. But why do you need 25 round PMags again that barely work sometimes for a precision gun, quote unquote precision gun? Also, the muzzle device, it's painful to shoot. So we were shooting Brass's 6.5 Creedmoor and the Fix, which I think was also in 6.5 Creedmoor, side by side. The 6.5 Creedmoor in the 700 action and his carbon fiber chassis with a huge muzzle brake was less concussive than the Q Cherry Bomb that does nothing for recoil. I don't know how you manage to do that. You have a muzzle brake that is more blasty, more concussive than a muzzle brake, but worse, or does almost no recoil deadening whatsoever. Like, what a garbage muzzle device. Terrible. Yeah. Indeed. Thank you, POS Mini Racy. And believe me, you know what a POS is. Absolutely. Yeah, also that. We'll talk about it. The Light Sport for 2 says, and I did comment on Mod O's page saying I would. Well, you have done your due diligence. I appreciate it. Thank you, the Light Sport. The Light Sport for another 5 says aim surplus has LE. Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. I got distracted. We have to talk about this as well. There was allegedly a P320 that went off in the holster at Area 3 this week. Yesterday. In stage 11, which was the last stage that we shot today. And according to the ROs, according to everybody there, and allegedly there's video of this as well, a P320 went off in the holster at Area 3, where I'm shooting right now, yesterday. I was not in that same squad, so I did not see it live, but allegedly that happened. It happened to a young lady, and I'm going to attempt to reach out to her and get the footage of it, because allegedly there is footage of the 320 going off in the holster at Area 3. So if you were there, if you saw it, if you know the person who has that footage, I would very much like to have it, and I would like to see it, and I would like to share it with people. So allegedly that happened. And again, the RO said it happened. Other people in her squad said it happened. I have not personally seen the video yet, so I'm just saying allegedly, sir, a second P320 has gone off in the holster at a match. Which that thing that never happens, yeah, it happens again. The light sport for 5 says AIM Surplus has a LE trade-in P320 for $340. Worth it to clone my old duty pistol. It wasn't a good duty gun, but it was my duty gun. Well, if you're never gonna shoot it, who cares, right? $340 to make yourself feel better. That's fine. I think that works just fine. I'm not gonna complain about you for doing something like that. All right. Do Subarctic Psycho. Very happy to have a Saturday stream. Indeed. Well, I feel like I have to make up for it because I didn't stream yesterday at all. Robert Kinley for 2 says, can't wait to spend more time with my favorite not C's. Indeed, yes, we are the WN, not the YNs, but the WNs in this chat. Thank you. No one you know it for 2 says, Officer Nate Higgers reporting for duty. I met a lot of Officer Nate Higgers over the last couple days over here at Area 3. It's very surprising. Very common name over here. Very, very common name. Thank you. Central Sans Defense for 2 says, intro metal slaps. It does. It does slap. I like that. That's why I put it there. I've used it like 3 times. Thank you, Ben. Hope you're having a good time. Todd Dogs for 2 says, nah, Siga, I just woke up. UYN's got to go. You just woke up at 4 o'clock on a Saturday? That's a YN sleep schedule if I ever heard of it, bro. Thank you, Todd. Creek Shoe Operator for 2 has the correct take. Q is mega gay. I mean, you don't have video of me in a hot tub with other men. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying. Right? That video doesn't exist, right? Mossad certainly doesn't have that on a blackmail tape somewhere. Dick Cheney's Heart for 2 says, lipstick game on point today. I know, I look terrible, don't I? That's right. I didn't have time to do the rest of my makeup. Melissa Meter for 50 says, late and gay, mustache, masalam. Love y'all. I stole a PEC 15 and no one made a video on how to operate it. Instructions unclear. Per minute eye damage. Anyway, Kyle Gay, Richard Tito, etc. Well, thank you very much for the $50. That is incredibly. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, don't point those. Don't check if the IR laser is on or not by staring into it. Not a good idea. Subarctic Psycho for 2 says, John streaming from a closet. He's deeply closeted. I'll have you know this is an office at an Airbnb at an undisclosed location in Rapid City. Like 6 guys in the basement. I do have 6 guys in the basement, though. That's probably the gayer aspect, honestly. Chud says, Bolt Gun mentioned at 1903 Master Race. Very successful at yeeting people from long range, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Thank you, Chud. Ethan from Texas for 10 says, thoughts on the Sig Cross Sawtooth Magnum. What? I think I saw something about the Sawtooth. That's the large, like the long action version. I plan to do some big game hunting, and I'm looking at lightweight rifles, either in 300 Win Mag, 7 PRC, or 338 Win Mag. Well, the first 2 seem more reasonable. There's 300 Win Mag everywhere. I mean, I had a 300 Win Mag bolt gun, and it was fine. I've shot a couple of them. As far as the Sig Cross, though, so I've heard that you can get a good Sig Cross, right? That doesn't go off on its own. That's accurate. But I've also heard the exact opposite. Some Sig Crosses allegedly are like 2 to 3 away with match ammo, which, you know, it's not terrible. But if you're spending $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 on a rifle, you should hope it can put 1.5 MOA groups down, personally. So maybe, but would I risk it on a Sig product right now? Honestly, what was it? Is it? Oh, I guess you're looking for a long action though, because I don't think the Delta DD5. I don't think that comes in a long action. But I've heard good things about that rifle as well. Gabriel Baker for 5 says, newly single. All right. Well, I hope in a good way. I hope it's amicable, or at least better for you in the long run. Got the focus stream going while I play Ghost Recon Wildlands. Life is good. Well, I hope you're having a good time playing, man. Thank you, Gabriel. I hope you're doing well after a breakup. That's never fun. Tragedy, or well, hopefully it's a good thing, you know? Maybe it's a good thing in the long run. Maybe it doesn't feel nice right now, but maybe it'll feel nice later. Thank you, Gabriel. Noob from 5 says, how a 1500 16-inch 6.5 Creed or 16-inch 6-arc CAC upper first long-range gun? Get the 6 Creed. Get the 6 Creed, 6.5 Creed, win a bolt gun. You'll have way more fun. And if you're just trying to do long range, it'll be more accurate. It'll be more reliable in general, quotation marks. And you have a caliber that can do it better, in my opinion. And it's basically the same cost as 6-arc. So. Andy Cody for 5 says, Q copying Walther's trash customer service just needs to copy their marketing department. Does Q even have a marketing department, or is it just their YouTube channel and Kevin's off-putting demeanor? I think that's honestly most of their marketing budget right there. But I didn't even know Walther had trash customer service. I was thinking about getting a Walther steel frame. Carver for 2 says, Honey Badger equals gay slang for George Costanza body type. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, total Honey Badger over there. Thank you, Carver. Dr. Fuzzy for 5 says, hold up, a stream at 5 on a Saturday? Maybe the Raptor did happen. Also, 20-inch supremacy. I like 20-inch rifles, okay? I'm not going to lie. What do I shoot? 11 5s and 14 5s. Even though I like 20 inches. Don't clip that out of context, please. Please. I haven't checked, but I hope the audio is coming through all right. Dude, what if I had a voice changer on this entire time and didn't realize it? Wouldn't that be tragic?
So now I have a voice changer on, so this I think changed it.
I think it did. But don't worry, I will not do that the entire time. That would be awful. Let me see. Okay, well, hey, let's talk about Q. How about that? So we have a big dealer for Q that essentially was like, you know what? I don't like Q anymore. I don't want to play with you anymore. And that is Shark Coast Tactical, which I'm not particularly familiar with, but apparently they do a lot of business. But they had some issues with some Q products. So let's talk about it.
Badgers, 92 mini fix and fix,
Sorry, that's quiet for me. I hope it's not quiet for you guys.
95 sugar weasels, 22 boom boxes, 168 trash pandas, 54 thunder chickens, 85 jumbo shrimp, 97 erectors, 4 full Nelson, 3 half Nelson, 6 El Caminos, which I think is wrong.
Somebody pointed it out. In this list of nonsense products, like I don't know what half of them are. I imagine they respond to suppressors and firearms of different types, but all of the names are just nonsense, right? It's like Boomer Americana, this sounds funny, this sounds cool. That's what the name of this stuff is. Half of the things that he's listing off, I don't have any idea what they are. I just know that they're expensive. That's it. I just know that they're expensive. What that actually is, what the product is, good luck.
97 erectors, 4 full Nelson, 3 half Nelson, 6 El Caminos, which I think is wrong, 30 pork chops, and 12 short chops. That's about 1.5.
Q has a sling that is hundreds of dollars. I'm going to hope that that is incorrect and that is a exaggeration. Q rifles. Because if you're extorting $200, the G sling, it's called the G sling. Well, it's $69, which nice. The G sling is $69. Get out of my face. It looks fine, but it's not hundreds of dollars unless that's the wrong one. Unless that's the wrong sling. But $69 is like mildly overpriced. It's fine. Probably cheaper if they sold to other people. The G sling, though, another cringe name. Thank you very much, you degenerate Kevin Brittingham. Peace of Mind Guns has it. Yeah, so it's not hundreds of dollars, unless that's the wrong one. Yeah, it's just 69 bucks. 69 bucks everywhere. I don't know what you're smoking, but it's not hundreds of dollars. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. So the Q, the letters are killing me. The Q G sling is a $200 resale price. So it's like a hype beast sling. That's where we're at in the firearms market. Right. Okay. All right. All right. That's the world we live in.
$4 million worth of Q product that we've moved in the past 2 years or so.
So what happened with Q?
Shark Coast Tactical and Q broke up today, and I don't think we're getting back together. I wanted to do a video and explain why. Q is a beloved brand here at Shark Coast. At least they've always have been. It's been a brand that we're closely tied to. For the last year or so, it's been problematic. We've had problems with their honey badgers. We've had problems with getting stuff.
Okay, on the honey badger thing. So I'm pretty sure it's Deskpop. I'm pretty sure Deskpop had 3 different honey badgers that all had problems, or he sent his one honey badger back 3 times. I forget what it is. But yeah, I've heard of like some honey badgers work really well. Other ones, not so much. Not so much.
Back from RMA, it's been kind of a nightmare. Most recently, we had a customer send a can back twice. The customer in question, his end cap off of his Trash Panda, which I have and love and enjoy. That's my honey badger right.
Speaking of Trash Panda, bro, hand tattoos are very feminine.
Right there. It blew off twice, and they won't warranty it. So Q is made to work on tapered barrels. Other barrels are what you call a 90-degree shoulder barrel. I think that's the term.
Right. So you have a taper profile like on Q, SIG, and there's probably a few other guys out there. Or you have the normal 90-degree shoulder that you have on most barrels, right? Which is perfectly fine, right? You can say, well, actually, concentricity is better on tapered barrels than it is on square barrels. But if they're done properly, it does not matter. It does not probable. It does not matter. It's not a problem.
Term for it. Most barrels are. When we started selling Q, my gunsmith explained to me that there's a possibility that some of their cans will not work on 90-degree shoulder barrels. Q barrels, SIG barrels, are tapered barrels, which work with the cherry bomb, which is why they came out with.
Also, to be clear, the cherry bomb is the worst muzzle device ever invented. Like, there are muzzle devices that do the suppressor mount thing exactly the same. There are muzzle devices that do better recoil reduction and better flash reduction. The Q cherry bomb is mediocre in every way imaginable.
With the brake to replace or use in addition to the cherry bomb, which is called the rear end. The rear end is designed to work with non-tapered barrels, the 90-degree shoulder barrels. Now, we didn't get a memo from Q that said we need to stock up on these and use these instead of the cherry bombs. Or I haven't seen that type of information out there. But our customer, we think his problem was he put the cherry bomb on his blackout, and the cherry bomb mount wasn't compatible with his 90-degree shoulder barrel. He sent.
Now, this is insane to me. As somebody who does a lot of custom AR, I say custom AR-15 work, I assemble a lot of uppers for customers, right? And I do a lot of Plan B. I do a lot of Xeno, Griffin, dual lock, whatever it might be. Whatever people want, Surefire, of course. Whatever people want is what I do. The amount of products that I come back as, oh, this is incompatible, right, with this barrel is 0. 0 out of thousands, right? So if your Plan B is somehow not compatible with your suppressor and a straight shoulder, like, that just seems wacky to me. That sounds like your tolerances are off, right? And keep in mind, this is blowing off the end cap of his suppressor, which is very annoying. So that makes it seem like the whole thing is either not made properly, or it's out of alignment, or it's off-centered, or whatever else that it might be. Yeah. But again, the doubt here is that, but it is a customer, and customers can do some retarded things sometimes. Customers can be retarded, okay? So like, yeah, your stuff should just work because everybody else's stuff just works. At least as far as I've seen, you can probably find exceptions. But also customers can be stupid.
Sent the can the first time back to Q. They sent him one back, did the same thing. The end cap blew off. Second time, they said you probably should change your barrel and you should change the mount to the rear end mount. Now, in the beginning, if they just would have said, hey, your barrel isn't compatible with our cherry bomb, try this mount, then everything would have been fixed. But they didn't do that. They said that if I go take a video of the rifle shooting a target at 7 yards. And
again, so Q's thing, what they were trying to say to their dealer, right, that's done about $1.5 million of business with them, is that we think that the barrel is bad. The barrel is keyholing. And so we're not going to warranty anymore because you need a new barrel. It's not our product's fault, which is fine. You're a manufacturer. You're allowed to blame somebody else's product, right? If you're a car manufacturer and somebody puts on like the wrong lug nut pad or wheels or something and is like, these don't fit. Well, it's like, well, that's not my problem. That's not our fault. Or aftermarket accessories, whatever it might be, right? So I can see why Q, this isn't Kevin directly, of course, but why Q would be like, well, we don't want to warranty that because we think your barrel is bad because you shouldn't be having these baffle strikes and your end cap blowouts. And we're not just going to keep giving you free suppressors over and over and over again ad infinitum, right?
And to verify on a cardboard target that it didn't keyhole, that they might give me some type of compensation, but probably not a can. Obviously, by the list of Q stuff, we've sold a shitload of their product. We like their product. We've always liked their product. It's always been a cool thing. But what happens to the next guy? If you can't take care of our customer, then I can't sell your product. I tried.
Now that stance from his perspective is perfectly fine. Even if he likes the product, if he's like, listen, you're not going to warranty, you're not going to take care of our customer who gave us $1,200 for your product because we paid you $900 for that product, right? Or whatever their wholesale cost is. If you're not going to stand behind your products, then I'm not going to sell it. Because essentially, that's an angry customer that's never coming back to this guy's shop, right? And that's a problem. If he's buying products and they're blowing up, and then the company's like, no, we're not going to help you out. So I totally get that. However, I want to see the barrel and the muzzle device because if it was a 90-degree shoulder with a plan B that in theory was 90-degree shoulder as well, so they should meet up just fine. But they're saying, well, actually you need the rear end muzzle device or the rear end mount or whatever it is from them. And then it'll work with their stuff, right? But that seems wacky to me because they make the cherry bomb for right angle shoulders and for tapers as well, or is it only one or the other? But yeah, if they're not going to take care of your customer and they're just going to take $1,200 and then, well, I mean, they replaced the can at least once, right? Because they blew it off the end cap twice. So they replaced the can at least once. And then after the second time, they're like, maybe you're doing something wrong, which honestly, if my customer blew up an AR upper, I'd be like, okay, I'll replace it, whatever. And then if he did it again directly after, I'd be like, really? Twice in a row? What ammo are you putting in it? You know, I'd start looking for other alternatives as well. So I get from Q's perspective, is sometimes customers are just retarded.
To negotiate with the customer service person, and they hung up on me. Now, was I yelling at the guy? Not really. I was definitely animated when I was speaking to him, but I was not yelling. And I said something along the lines where you guys know that there is an imperfection with your can, meaning that some barrels, however rare, will not work with the cherry bomb and your can, which is why you came out with the rear end mount, I assume. I don't know for a fact. And I said, if you knew this could have been a problem, why not
Okay, because this whole thing seems strange to me. Now I need to look into this more. What the heck is the Q rear end muzzle brake? Okay, so the rear end. Okay, so the rear end muzzle brake, muzzle device, right? $70, which isn't terribly expensive. And this is for right angled shoulders, right? Get out of my screen. Gosh dang it. Pop-up ads should be banned by law. French flats, sandwich socket, okay, nothing very special. What else we got here? So if we go here to this, so this is the cherry bomb. So is the cherry bomb only designed for tapered barrels? Like you can't put it on an untapered barrel, or you need an adapter sleeve to put it on a tapered barrel? Put it on a non-tapered barrel, sorry. Let's see. Do not shoot 9mm, of course. Do not. Okay, so you can rock set. Yes. Okay, so here's the thing. Can I use the cherry bomb on a 90-degree shoulder barrel? This is on their website page, right? You guys can see this. Can I use the cherry bomb on my 90-degree shoulder barrel? Yes. Here's what we recommend for a minimum shoulder. Can this be pinned? Yeah, I wouldn't pin that. I also would not pin that muzzle device because it's awful. All right. Page. You click on their download link and it's page not found. So that's actually funny. It's like, don't forget to follow our recommended specs for minimum shoulder. Click on it. Nothing. Nothing there. Yeah, all right. Whack. Whack. So, I mean, again, so if I saw this and I'm putting this cherry bomb on my rifle, right? Because I want to use their suppressors or whatnot. If I put it on my rifle, it should just work, right? Surely it should just work. But then there's nothing there. Yeah, apparently, yeah, there are no minimums. Go for it. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. Yeah, not 404, not found. It should just say lol. Lol, you clicked on that? What an idiot. Yeah, on brand for Q. That's wild. So again, according to their website, it says, yes, you can use this on a 90-degree shoulder barrel. Unless you change it so that maybe people don't put it on their shoulder barrel, right? That would be fantastic.
Send the rear end mount initially when a guy had the problem, and then we wouldn't be in this predicament. But
what he says there is also a fantastic option. Okay, so your Q. You get a suppressor back, blown off end cap. You're thinking what? Alignment issue with his barrel muzzle device, or bad ammo or something, right? That's what you're thinking. So you ask him what ammo he's using. If he's using good ammo, you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not that. But then you say, well, what mount are you using? What barrel are you using? Well, if he's supposed to be using a rear end mount, right, which is the flat shouldered for a 90-degree shoulder like you find on most barrels, why wouldn't you just ship him a $70 part along with the suppressor? Or say, hey, this is what you need for your barrel. You need this one, right? You don't even necessarily need to send it with him like for free. Just be like, by the way, here's the link to purchase that for $70. Now, if you want to make a happy customer after he blows up your suppressor, you should absolutely send him a $70 muzzle device along with his $1,200 can. Gecko Chaser says Shark Coast is local to me. Great, guys. Good to hear. Good to hear the good dudes. But yeah, if your Q, like sending a cheap muzzle device along with your very expensive can that came in for warranty work, that seems like the simplest solution. Will Harm says, I would like to rear mount AOC. All right.
instead, you guys didn't think about it or whatever, and now you're not going to warranty his can. And I said, so you're going to ruin a relationship with a dealer just over a can that you know has a problem. And the customer service person said, you're being unreasonable and you're yelling at me. And this is over. And he hung up on me.
Okay. Defense for Q here. If this gentleman is yelling at some customer service rep, first off, don't do that. Do not do that. Customer service rep, it's not Kevin, okay? It is somebody paid to do a 9 to 5 job, and they are told what to do, told what to say, told what parameters they are to do, whatnot. Don't yell at them. Don't do that. And honestly, like, listen, if somebody who's worked retail and whatnot, when customers got up in our face and yelled at us, we would just say, "You need to leave. You're done. You go away. You do not get to yell at the customers. The customers or the workers. You don't get to do that. That's not proper behavior. You need to go." So, I mean, I actually do get if he was, I don't know how he was yelling. Maybe he was just being forceful. He says he wasn't yelling. But if you're actually like in a yelling match with a customer service rep, they're just going to hang up the phone, and they're kind of in the right to do so. Now, all of this could have been solved, as he said, if Q had just done their due diligence and made a good product in the first place, or sent the correct mount that may have fixed the glitch, fixed the problem with their $1,200 suppressor. Because again, that muzzle device cost to make is probably like $30. Probably even less than that. With packaging and shipping, it's probably $30.
That's what happened with Q. I
And
think
so,
that's
yeah.
the term.
So because of that, you know, they did about $1.5 million of business with Q. He lists off all the products again. I want to listen to the product names because it's just funny.
240 honey badgers.
Oh, wow. 240 honey badgers. That's actually nuts. I didn't know there was actually that many of them in the wild.
92 mini fix and fix.
Terrible rifles.
95 sugar weasels. 22 boom boxes. 168 trash pandas. 54 thunder chickens. 85 jumbo shrimp. 97 erectors. 4 full Nelson. 3 half Nelson. 6 El Caminos, which I think is wrong. 30 pork chops. And 12 short chops.
Okay, pork chops, short chops, whatever, bro. I didn't get half of that. That's wild. But so for this, I think Q is in the wrong for not shipping the correct muzzle device, or at least offering the correct muzzle device after they had an issue with it. You know, like send me a picture. Like if I'm the guy doing the customer service warranty work, I'd be like, "Can I see a picture of the rifle that it was mounted to? Can I see your ammo? Can I see your muzzle device?" And if I'm like, "Well, you're using a cherry bomb, but you're using it on a barrel that maybe has too little of a shoulder," well, actually, what you need is the rear end. So then you just either sell him the rear end, or if you're being a nice company, you ship him the rear end, right? But this unfortunately falls in line with Q's online persona being so much of an asshole, even if he's right at times, but just being a total douchebag. And then his customer service isn't the best. And then you're like, well, you know, it kind of lines up, right? Kind of makes sense, which is unfortunate. Mitchell Black for 5 says 500 cigarettes. That's right, 500 cigarettes. Sometimes you forget what life's all about. Killian Gallagher for 5 says, first time seeing you live, love the stream. Should I start a channel about shooting and hunting in Alaska and shoot big game with 5.56 to anger FUDs? Slurs. Yeah, I mean, hunting and fishing on YouTube, I don't think it does that well. Maybe I'm crazy, or maybe it's just not my genre, but I don't think it does that well on YouTube. You can always try. And as far as shooting big game with 5.56, like yep, if you want to get a lot of hate, that's the way to do it. People will be very upset with you for taking large game with 5.56 for some reason. Thank you, Killian, though. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good time, man. Yeah. Robert Kinley has the actual list of names for Q products. We got 30 meatloafs, 14 ex-wives, and 35 dirty Sanchez. Excuse me? What? Those are gun parts and rifles. You're sure about that? Brian Winters for 2 says A2 birdcage or direct thread. All else is inferior. There you go. Thank you, Brian. ND Cody for 5 says sent you a DM on IG about the Walther issue. Okay. What's even worse is talking to other industry employees. My experience is not uncommon. Well, why don't I just take a look real fast? So apparently there's a big issue with Walther QC. I haven't heard about this. All right, so Cody says, do not buy a Walther steel frame. Well, that actually, I was looking at that. Excuse me. If you want one, I'll sell you one. I have 3. Both my practice guns developed extraction issues, slipping off the rim, about 13,000 rounds. I haven't had to place one now. 23. That's not interesting. Huh. What? Wild. So apparently there's just a known issue with extraction after a certain amount of time with Walthers, right? And so you actually have to, apparently, according to Kim, you actually have to shim your extractor to get extra extractor tension on a Walther steel frame, which is wild considering that gun costs $1,500, which is insane for a polymer gun that's then ported over to steel. Interesting. Yeah, so apparently that's a widespread issue on their Walthers, that high round counts. Stuff just starts falling apart. So hey, maybe the Canic isn't so much of a cheap Walther. Maybe the Walther is a cheap Canic. You ever think about that? Although the Canic, the firing pins go out on them after a certain amount of rounds. That's actually funny. All right. Sheep Herder for 5 says Q has been a rich fool's product for a decade at this point. Not saying all Q products are bad, but I've heard enough rumors to stay away. HK gets my dollars. Ah, HK guy. All right, that explains the thumbnail. Appreciate it, Sheep Herder. I heard people want to get the Erector, Q Erector. What is the Q Erector? Is that their 9mm can? Oh, it's the 22 can. Oh, I don't even care. But I mean, yeah, Q and Erector, I thought it was going to be some like gay OnlyFans website. That's what it sounds like, Kevin. It's like only hot tubs. How about that? Dick Cheney's Heart for 2 says Q is for Ford Raptor dopes. Consumerism is lame. Indeed. You don't have your Thunder Chicken on your Sugar Weasel and then a mini fix in the back pocket with literally the best trigger ever made. Yeah, that's cringe. John Smith for 5 says, look at the 2-piece BCG. It's even dumber. Q is hype beast trash, and Kevin is a POS. They changed their cans to a worse finish and no muzzle device for the same price. That's just called doing business, son. Thank you, John. Ridiculous for 5 says, I was passive aggressive towards HK customer support, and they sent me a replacement screw for free instead of making me order another $90 jet funnel. Interesting. Well, that's nice of them. Thank you, Ridiculous. Robert Kinley for 2 says, gotta go, but mandatory. Thank you for your service. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, Robert. Have a good day, man. Kevin puts the Q in LGBTQ. Q Plus. Q Plus is their new streaming service coming soon. True. Thank you, Huge Ass. I appreciate it, man. All right, here we go. Well, would you guys actually, well, Kevin had a good take actually. So Kevin isn't all bad. I know that he's easy to meme on sometimes, but occasionally he had the good take. So here's this video. Well, actually, this is a funny streak. So you have YQ, Y338 sucks, which I kind of agree with him on. And then you have Micah Mayfield. Is 338 ARC the 8.6 blackout killer? No, of course not. Although it's so funny that both of these cartridges are like meme retarded rounds, right? For very, very niche purposes. So it's like 338 versus 8.6 blackout. It's like battle of the retards, the tallest midget, the smartest, whatever you want to say. Yeah, but I think he's right about 338. 338 seems stupid to me. If you want a subsonic, reliable, simple, easy to tune package in an AR-15 platform, it already exists. It's 300 blackout. And then if you want something that has more oomph, and does it in an AR-10 size package, quote unquote AR-10 size. Well, you have the 8.6 Blackout, right? The 338 ARC doesn't do anything special.
Why 338 ARC sucks. So what is 338 ARC? Well, it's a new cartridge by Hornady to go in AR-15s and micro bolt guns with super and subsonic capabilities. So similar to 8.6 Blackout or 300 Blackout? Maybe.
So I think there's some conspiracy theory that Kevin's also really upset with Hornady for coming out with an 8.6 competitor, even though I don't really think it's much of a competitor. I think it's such a niche round. 300 Blackout's already niche. 8.6 Blackout's even more niche. A hybrid of the two, like a middle way between the two, outside of maybe a bolt gun. Like even for a bolt gun, I don't know why you would go with 338 ARC. I don't get it. Personally, I don't get it.
338 ARC.
Yeah, as T Swift says, what's the point of 338 ARC? I have no idea. If you want a quiet gun that cycles and works great in an AR-15, 300 Blackout is a barrel swap away. 338 ARC, you have to have a aftermarket lower. You have to have very specific magazines that are still being developed. You have to have a different bolt. You have to have a different barrel. And then maybe you can get this new cartridge to work. 300 Blackout, you just swap the barrel. Now, there's obviously tuning you have to do with 300 Blackout because you don't want your subs to go super. You need to make sure that your subs actually run and then it doesn't kill itself or you kill yourself when you're shooting some supersonic. So even 300 Blackout is problematic in certain ways, right? But like making that, it's just, yeah. And you don't have enough powder. You don't have enough powder in a 300. Well, what's the parent case? 220 Russian. You don't have the powder to take advantage of that heavy of a slug.
Pros on paper. Oh, so I don't even have cards for that. There's so few. All right, so allegedly the pros are you have super and subsonic capability in the AR-15. Barrel swap only. Well,
again, that's not true though. It's a different bolt. Right, because it uses the bigger bolt, so you can get the bigger case that has a little bit more powder. Not 8.6 level of powder, but more powder. And then you have, you need other magazines to get it to run really reliable. You can probably get it to run somewhat reliable with somewhat capacity in like 6.5 Grendel, 6 ARC magazines, like probably, but not to the same level. And so I think for the mixtape, PSA's mixtape, it actually has a wider magazine well to fit the thicker mags.
Kinda. I think that's kind of it. The pros, according to Hornady, barrel swap goes on your standard AR-15, super subsonic. Yeah, well, I guess a pro could be if Hornady actually backed this one and ammo is available. That'd be good. So
you got to have ammo and the guns. Does anyone know of a current production 338 that you can go out and buy? Is there a 338 that's just available for sale? Buttered sausage. It's a Gary Busey clip. A great clip.
The cons, what I like to call reality. Got some cards for these. All right, so a con to the ARC family of cartridges, magazines.
Well, so that's the problem. 308 also, like the way that the case is set up, can you get a long enough bullet that's heavy enough to where you still get enough energy to cycle and it be subsonic, right? So like a 220 grain 30 cal projectile out of a 308 does not have the energy to cycle suppressed. It just does not. But a 300 grain or whatever the 325, 285, whatever it is for the 8.6, they can have enough energy to cycle suppressed and be subsonic, right? Which is why that's a very specialized caliber, very niche. And it does kind of work, right? But I wouldn't want to tune an 8.6 blackout. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to spend the money on the ammo. The ammo is ridiculous. I think everything that he's going to complain about the 338 ARC in terms of purpose, I think that the 8.6 also has basically the same thing.
ARC doesn't use the standard magazine. Kinda uses a Grendel magazine, 6.5 Grendel, which never really took off, which is a great round for hunting. But you gotta have a delivery system that we always talk about. So the gun, man, I wish they would work with gun companies. ARC requires a full curve mag. That's a problem with the AR-15s, is you have a straight mag well. There's no real magazine for ARC, and if there is one, it's limited capacity. I count that as a con, not as a pro. Full curve mags, they no fit in the AR-15. That's why none of these taper cartridges work. The only decent.
So the only caveat to that is the new 6 ARC mags from Geisley that are like $70-$80 now, which isn't too terrible. But you get 30 round capacity, 28 round capacity, something like that, and a relatively straight case. Relatively straight magazine, sorry. And those seem like they're working okay. So, but you need special mags, and especially for 338 ARC, you're going to need specialized mags, specialized lowers if you have to make the mags wider, which I think is what they've been doing with them. And then I believe it is a bolt swap. If I'm not mistaken, it is a bolt swap and a barrel swap. Unless I'm crazy and they're using a 300 blackout case, which I don't know why they would. Be a straight case at that point. At that point, just use like, what is it, 400 legend, 350 legend, 400 legend, whatever that is. Just make it a straight wall.
6 ARC mag we've tested is the Geisley. It's $100. It's limited capacity. And for what I've read,
that's not correct. So it's cheaper than that, and I believe it's standard capacity. It's 30 rounds, right? 28 rounds. I believe they're standard capacity magazines, and they seem to work.
you have to modify the 6 ARC mags to work with 338 ARC, which it makes sense, right? One of the reasons we did 8.6 or 338 blackout in the SR25 mag is the front rib in the magazine. That's always a limiting factor. You know, that made a difference in the AR-15s between 300 Whisper and 300 blackout. That's why we had to design new bullets, because the front rib in the magazine guides the round into the chamber correctly. So 30 caliber bullet is too big for an AR-15. Well, guess what? 338's even bigger. So that front rib's interfering even more. That hurts reliability. The ARC cartridges also require a new bolt. You have to open up the...
I was right. Yeah, so it's using the 220 Russian 6.5 Grendel case, right? So yeah, 338 ARC, like 300 blackout barely makes sense for certain applications. Like barely makes any sense. 8.6 is even more niche. And yeah, I know Kevin's hunted everything under the sun with 8.6, right? That's his deal. But 338 ARC is like, what if we tried to get even more out of the AR-15 platform? So our subs are still heavy and slow, and our supers are not very fast. Like you can get a 115 Barnes or 125 Barnes TSX cooking at like 2300 FPS, 2400 FPS out of a supersonic 300 blackout load. And I know people use them for hog hunting, right? But what's the lightest load you can get for a 338 ARC? 185, 65, pushing maybe 1900 FPS, right? Probably not that impressive. And if you're going with all that complexity and for hunting, just 350 legend, 400 legend, whatever that is, right? If it's just a pure hunting, like harvesting type gun where you're going after boars or deer or whatnot, doesn't make any sense.
The bolt face. Geisley's made a really good gun for this, and it uses a exotic material bolt to get any durability out of it. So you're looking at $300 to $400 bolts if you want durability. The ARC cartridges in gas guns are not reliable. Why not? Because you're putting them in an AR-15 that was designed for the 5.56 case. All right, we use a 5.56 case essentially for 300 blackout when we did them. We made the correct bullets, the correct shape and ogive so they work with that front rib in the magazine. Blackout 8.6 or 300.
That being said, aftermarket bullets are just 30 cal bullets. So, you know, you have like, what's the cheapest 300 blackout out there? Like 147, 150? It's because it's all M80 ball bullets or, you know, just standard 150 grain ball ammo. So, yeah, I mean, you might have designed it that way, but that's not really how it worked out in reality. Yeah, I would say 5.56 is better than 300 blackout in almost every way. There is one thing that 300 blackout does that 5.56 doesn't. There's one thing. That's the fact that it's cycles suppressed subsonic ammo. That's it. That's it. 308 also literally exists. So that's the thing with the H6 blackout. It's like the only reason you would ever have this is for subsonic ammo. Because if you're going with supersonic ammo, just use a 308. Like, why would you ever want H6, a bigger, heavier, slower round? I mean, maybe you can make an argument for, like in Kevin's case, that some game it's better than. Maybe. But I mean, unless you're hunting African water buffalo with a boom box, maybe that's not very applicable to you.
Or a barrel change only, not magazine and bolt and barrel, like the 6.8 SPC or the ARC cartridges or the Grendel cartridges. That's why they didn't catch on. When you change the magazine and the bolt and the barrel and the AR, I've never seen reliability that worked good enough for the military. And that's sort of what we base our stuff on, not the casual user. So maybe you have.
I wonder if 8.6 is ever going to get a military contract. It's odd that he says that with things like the Q fix and then 8.6 blackout and the boombox. I wonder if there's some unit out there, some wacko. They're like, you know what I need? I need 300 blackout, but bigger, heavier, less ammo capacity. Exact same terminal performance or same use case envelope, but I just need more of it. I wonder if that has a real military application. And Brian Winters, yeah, you called it for 2. Just make 6.8 SPC more available. It actually works. Well, again, that was the problem with 6.8, right? You didn't have the magazine capacity. You had the special bolts, and then you didn't have gun support. Then you didn't have ammo support, and then when it didn't win all the military contracts, right? Then it kind of died out, and then we kind of see it. Everything comes full circle eventually, right? Everything comes back eventually, and then now they have, 6.5 Grendel, 6 arcs. So these medium calibers, not 5.56, but medium calibers. The medium squared calibers are kind of taken off again. 224 Valk is another one that died, which is just a high capacity 5.56, high capacity case 5.56, that is. The Light Sport for 2 says, Kevin isn't a swinger per se. He just likes to watch. All right. Andy Cuddy for 5 says, thank you for reading it. It was such a frustrating experience, and I don't have the platform to tell many other people or to let me know. Or to let other people know. Yeah, no, totally fine. I never knew that was a thing. I had usually only heard good things from Walther. So, interesting to know. I guess I'll just keep rocking the Canic, and I hope you get that fixed out. And I mean, hey, if you cut me a killer deal on one, maybe, just let me know. Amar for 5 says, pray for me, Kings. I am getting off SSRIs and painkillers before 2026 and turn 30. They served me well, but now it's time to let go now that I am 75% healed. Well, hey, that's a good thing, man. I'm glad to hear it. I hope that it goes well, even if it's rough for a little while, man. I think you're making the right move, trying to get off of that stuff moving forward. So I pray for a band that it goes well. Thank you, Omar. Chud for 2 says, Centurion sent me free hardware when I lost it. Goat. All right, fair enough. I've heard, again, Centurion is another one of those companies where I don't have a lot of experience with them, but I tend to hear very good things. Chud for 2 says, 6.5 Grendel is better than 6 Arc. Criterion won't make 6 Arc barrels yet. Yeah, they will eventually. Guarantee it. I like 6 Arc more because I'm a target shooter, right? I don't go hunting. So for me, 6 Arc is the better round because it hits targets better, in my personal opinion. Thank you, Judd. Zafan for 2 says, Kevin is 100% a swinger. AOC is definitely rear mountable. Okay. All right, Zafan. I see that you like the thick Latinas. She has definitely gained some weight. Chud for 2 says, Kevin looks like an older, gayer Kyle. I love you, Kyle. All right, well. Wait, if you love Kyle and Kyle is gay, so the transitive properties make you gay? Chud? Deer Hunter 713 says, if the idea of 8.6 is for hunting, why are you worried about subsonics at all? Now, according to, I think, has Kevin hunted with subsonic 300 blackout? I'm pretty sure he has. I'm pretty sure he posts like, hey, look at this antelope I just killed from 85 yards with a subsonic 8.6 blackout round. Pretty sure he like owns an African village somewhere, or at least he pays enough money to own an African village somewhere. Right. Yeah. Although for me, yeah, it's like 300 blackout is only entertaining in subsonic rounds. Whereas 8.6 for hunting, why wouldn't you just be using supers? And if you're just using supers, like just use 300 blackout, or sorry, 308. Or similar calibers, right? Thank you, Deer Hunter. But I mean, listen, man. If it made sense, would Q be doing it? Would they be doing it if it made sense? I don't think so. Yeah. Hunting on public land and you want to be polite. Maybe. All right, well, speaking of being polite, listen. Whether you like it or not, okay, Sharia law is here and it's here to say. What a transition away from Kevin. But what if I told you that Dearborn, Michigan, they're now, what is it? They're doing the 5 times a day prayer thing for the Muslims over there. You have the police department over there with the Islamic State patches or the Islamic text on or whatnot. Interesting. I think America's kind of balkanizing whether you like it or not. You loves to smell their own farts. Indeed.
A contentious battle is brewing in Dearborn over a mosque using outdoor loudspeakers for their call to prayer.
In Dearborn, Michigan, right here in the United States of America, a city that has become majority Arabic, about 55% of their population is Arabic. The religious figures are a little bit more difficult to pin down due to the fact that the census doesn't actually collect religious data, but we can assume a huge portion of that is an Islamic population. Residents who have lived there for a long time, Americans who have been there for generations, are getting woken up at 5:30 in the morning, and by the way, all hours of the day, due to the fact that a local mosque is playing on the loudspeaker an Islamic call to prayer. That's right, here in the United States of America, the so-called secular republic that we are.
Do you guys remember when like the Satanists were complaining about like American flags or verses or anything else that has to do with Christianity in public places? Do you guys remember that? I remember that. We just talked about Q for a full hour, 12th Monkey. We just talked about Q for a full hour. I think that's enough Q. I think that's everybody's Q tolerance is like 1 hour. And I might only stream for like another 20 or 30 minutes and then head out to hang with the dudes, with the bros. All right. Well, yeah, they always go after Christians, right? Not these other religions for some reason.
Residents who live in and around a mosque have to be greeted each and every morning with this obnoxious Islamic call to prayer because, of course...
Oh, think about that. Think about being a young man in the early 2000s, joining up, seeing your buddies die, coming home to live in the Midwest where you were born and raised. And then 20 years later, this is your lot in life, 5 times a day, all hours of the day. Makes you think.
Once Muslims get to a certain percentage, once they get to a majority, they start reshaping society around them in order to cater to their religious beliefs, and they completely discard the host country that they're in. And this is what we're going to talk about today, because the local news media adds a little bit of ambiguity to the situation. They try to say, well, there's an argument from this side and there's an argument from that side, but in reality...
Gloop is already fed posting. We're a minute and 30 seconds into a commentary video, and he's already fed posting. Listen, all right. I mean, somebody who can hit targets from like 150 yards away. Talking about Joshua Jan. This is your average milsurp enjoyer. Yes, this is the Dallas ICE shooter, the one who committed friendly fire in the Dallas ICE facility, where he thought that he was going to be murdering ICE agents, but instead he just unalived, I guess, ostensibly the people he was trying to help. tragic. Now, I know a lot of you are probably looking at this guy and being like, what? This is just a normal Tuesday night. But I'm here to tell you that these people are a little weird, okay? People are a little strange. Little strange. Yeah, but I mean, listen, as somebody who lives in South Dakota and only a few hours away from me is Minneapolis, right? And some of these other places that are very Arab heavy, very Islamic heavy. I understand that the future does not look so bright, right? Yes, also, of course, yes. Deport furries as well. I think honestly, there should be a mental health check on a 4473 where it's like, are you interested? Like, tell us what you think about this image, right? And it's like a Rorschach test, but for anime or furries or stuff like that. And if you know what it is, you just get instantly banned. I think that's what it should be. Like if you recognize this art, like you're just banned instantly. Emo anime. Oh, okay. I was like, what wallpaper? My wallpaper on my computer is my kids, but you mean this? You just mean my background. Make America emo again. I just find it funny. It's like ironically funny. I mean, that's strange. You guys can come in now if you want. We're not really talking about anything. Logan's in the other room and he's like, "Hey, John, can I come in?" Yeah, yeah, that's just right over there. You don't need to do that on stream, bro. But let me see here. Okay, so allegedly, this was the actual facility that got shot by this Joshua Johns guy, right? So you can see it here. Yeah, I don't know if there's audio on this one, but they the guy starts shooting at it, right? And getting people out of the van and into the facility away from it, which is terrifying to think about because, right, those guys have no idea what they're doing or no idea what's going on. They're like, why are we being shot at? We're detainees, you know. You see they're handcuffed. They're trying to get them out of the vans. Which, I mean, they're doing their job, right? Ah, shoot, my brother's calling me. Gotta hang up on that. I'm sure it's something important. Logan waiting, yeah, he's waiting for the moment to strike. He's actually upset because, gotta be honest, guys, Logan did not beat me this week. Logan did not. Neither did Spencer, neither did Lance, neither did Travis. Didn't happen. Didn't happen this weekend. This weekend, I was on my game. I thought it was going to be bad, but it wasn't. She's just asking, "Where's the milk?" Get out, Sheezer. And now I'm not sure if at this moment in time these guys are, again, I wish we had audio, but at this point in time, the van has been shot many times. There are 2 dead bodies, or 1 dead body, 1 soon-to-be dead body, and a critically injured person on the inside of this van that this guy was shooting at. Yeah, you want to look at the face of your enemy, the face of leftist progressive violence. Here it is. It's Joshua Jan. So no milkman. Well, you should ask your mom about the milkman and why you don't look like your siblings, Josh. How about that? Just ask him why your dad was always annoyed when the milkman was over. And then let me see here. Okay, so now if you guys remember this,
% increase.
There's an app to track ICE agents, and then the shooter, Joshua Jan, was using that app to figure out where they were going. And so he thought, allegedly, that he was shooting a van full of ICE agents, not a van full of detainees. Which is, I suppose, darkly ironic, if that makes sense.
Charles, I am the ICE Executive Associate Director for Enforcement and Removal Operations. The attack on ICE's Dallas.
All jokes aside, I actually love Josh very much. I'm very proud of the man that he's become, despite his upbringing.
Dallas field office yesterday was tragic. And while our hearts are prayers are with the family of the detainees who were shot, the evidence is clear that this was intended as an assault on ICE personnel who come to work every day to do their job. Violent rhetoric has led to over 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers, and it has to stop. In contrast to those who would demonize our men and women, yesterday our brave officers ran back into danger, along with ATF, our partners, to save the detainees while shots were still being fired. Those ICE officers just showed the world who they really are. Law enforcement officers who want the best for our country. That's ICE. Integrity, courage, excellence. They were willing to put their lives on the line to pull detainees out of the transport van to get them to safety. They are heroes, and I hope the media has the integrity to shine a light on this story. Enough is enough with the harmful lies and violent rhetoric. It has to stop. The shooter used the ICE tracking apps. Anyone who creates or distributes these apps that is designed to spot, track, and locate ICE officers are well aware of the dangers that they are exposing to law enforcement. It's a casting call to invite bad actors to attack law enforcement.
Now, here's the thing, right? Like, I think that public oversight of like our oversight of our law enforcement, politicians, and sort of thing should be the norm in a way, right? So, like, we should be aware of what these people are doing. We should be allowed to record them, all of this sort of stuff, right? Because we don't actually want to live in a authoritarian hellscape, right? That the left often like fantasizes about and says that you guys are doing when, you know, they're the ones perpetrating it and murdering people. But when people are unhinged enough to actually just straight up murder people for doing their like moral duty, right? They have a job, they've been selected by, you know, whether through law enforcement or for ICE or for anything to do a job, and that is to deport, detain illegal immigrants, right? That's their job. That's what I would consider a moral good. It is a difficult job, and half of the country is going to hate you very much for doing it. And that we have to understand that even if we can't stop this sort of thing, even if we shouldn't necessarily want to stop the sort of oversight of these people, right? Because we want public oversight on all this stuff. We wish we had actual oversight on like our politicians and stuff, right? But you just have to be aware, psychos like this, murders like this, like they are out there. You may not think so, but oh my gosh, get out. Get out. You may not think so, but this is actually the most dangerous person you'll see walking down the street today. This guy. Right there.
Officers. It's no different than giving a hitman the location of their intended target, and this is exactly what we saw happen in Dallas yesterday. The media has been amplifying these apps even as we warned them it would only lead to more attacks on law enforcement. We truly wish we didn't have to say, "I told you so," but here we are. ICE continues to prioritize the safety and security of our personnel, detained aliens, and facilities. We will do everything possible to increase security to counter the increased wave of these lethal attacks. Again, we call on those who foment violence and vilify our law enforcement officers to cease the dangerous rhetoric. We also call on law-abiding Americans everywhere.
Yeah, ICE is running, like, if you can get hired by ICE, which I have the qualifications for, but if you ever get hired by ICE, I think they're running like a 50K sign-on bonus, which is probably a good bet for the next 2.5 years. Longer than that, though, job security, not very good. I would be hesitant to recommend it for a long-term position, because who knows how long that job's actually going to be around. I believe you mean foment violence, Jake. Unbelievable.
To report any suspicious activity. The individual that was out there yesterday shooting at our agents and our officers was trying to take the lives of law enforcement people doing their job. Instead, he killed a detainee and shot 2 others. That is something that's unacceptable. The rhetoric that's out there on social media, the rhetoric that is being said by some community leaders in other states needs to stop. There's been an increase in violence against ICE agents, not only in Texas and Dallas, but across the country in violent protests. Again, I ask everybody, just stop. Thank you.
Just stop. Very eloquent. Ah. Yeah. God. Yeah, bro did not get hired for his public speaking skills. True. Well, me neither, but I'm here anyways. Whether you like it or not. The bucket says, yeah, just stop. All right. Well, why don't we get the other guys in here and see what they think about Area 3 before we head out to dinner. Before we do, know when you know it for 5, sorry, says 2 for 2 last firearm purchases was sent the wrong B&T can. The wrong one. Yikes. And then the wrong psionics barrel. Let's hope CMT sends the right hand guard. Fingers crossed. I've had good luck with CMT. I buy a lot of stuff directly from them. So good luck with that, sir. Josh for 5 says, fun fact. The song in Kevin's video is called Bombaclat by Stu Beneso. Sure, Josh. Always a trickster, Mr. Josh. Logan sucks at streaming for 5. Sucks at shooting, sucks at streaming as well. For 5 says, when do you want us to crash the stream? I'm crashing this stream with no survivors. You guys can come in now if you'd like. Ridiculous for 2 says, In Range TV's Discord is full of libtard furry vet bros. Vet bros. Yeah, well, I mean, there are some, there's some gay vets out there. There's some wacky vets out there. As we've seen various drama ensue in various spaces and whatnot for what may or may not be happening inside of those barracks. Some wacky people out there. Wacky people. All right. All right, let me text. Hey, Logan. Lance. I'll get everybody in here. 100. Oh, actually, that is a good one. I should pull that up.
I like to wear one around my neck because I'm gay.
That is a good one. Shadow Forces got it. All right. Should I get up and grab them now? Be like, hey, get in here. Are you guys coming in? What are you guys doing? I hear you guys talking out there. Oh, perfect. Here we go. Oh, look, we're all matching. How cute is that? Can I make it? I need it wider. Kyle Katarda. We're all in here. How's it going? Hey, guys. There's only 500 people watching. No pressure. No pressure. Not at all. All right, who do we have here? We have everybody in here. We have Logan sucks at shooting, who lived up to his namesake today. We have the Weekend Gunner, and we're all repping his stuff. Taking up half the frame when not in the frame is Wes. That's as wide as I can make it. I can't make it any wider. We turn it on normal. Then we have Spencer hiding in the background, but I don't know if he wants to be on stream. All right, guys. Oh, here we go. A little faster. There we go. There's everybody. All right. Well, did Area 3 go for everybody?
I shot fast and recorded. My favorite part. It could have been a lot better.
Yeah. Do we know our place? Well, we don't know our placement. Well, we won't know where we actually place until tomorrow, but hoping to get 85% on the map.
Feel like we end up around what was that, 81%? I'll probably end up 75 if everybody's gonna kick the time.
Yeah. They're gonna move? No. We can't. It's not wide enough. We can't actually get everybody in the screen.
It's not wide enough. We need more. We can swap so that you two can be over. really doesn't matter to me.
The smell of this Airbnb room. Working? I hope so. I hope we can hear all of us still. We're good. You see one half of Spencer's face just sitting there.
Where's the crown? Where's that go?
Oh yeah, you need the crown.
Oh, the crown? Because there's zero. You gotta do
You want to explain how you do that?
There's 5 girls, and I have all 5 of them.
You 4 on one stage though. Yeah, 4 footballs. We're on it.
The match started that if anybody zeroed the stage, you had to wear the Burger King crown, and Spencer gets to wear it now.
It was wonderful. Mic
Are
up.
we on? How much higher it goes, guys? Like it's gonna start getting wacky soon. Hello, hello. Is that still working? It might not. It might not even pick up. Well, we're gonna. Well, actually, we could actually around the back. So I'm gonna knock over the camera, trying to bring this over here.
Oh.
Hey, look at that. A genius idea. Here we are live in the Weekend Gunner sponsored shooting suite
This was not
here in Airbnb. we just all look like we're on a shooting team, even though we're on the retarded team. All right.
Party of all. It was great. This match was awesome for me because I shot like a retard, and that's how I usually shoot, and it's awesome for that. I love Area 3 because yeah, we'll save that for later. I love Area 3.
Sorry, no, sister isn't real. Not here. There's a fair point there.
Saying it's TRD, okay?
Love that.
All right.
I drove 1,500 miles from Washington to be here at the what is it called? The Tar Squad Elite Super Goober.
I don't know.
Yeah. We finished really well in my match. I was the only one in the fat fuck division. Well, I had to take an insulin shot in between mags, but I was the only one there, so I won by default. So I had a great fucking time. It was well worth it.
I shoot Area 3 because I live in the middle of nowhere and have no other major matches to shoot. You wanna go?
Solid D class shooting lived to the name today.
Lots of deltas.
Deltas did end up what? Like 25 deltas. I had 7 deltas, 2 mics, and a no shoot. I don't apologize to the no shoot.
Okay, killed it then.
I did okay. Yeah, it was probably the best match I've ever had.
Rush.
Well, okay. Well,
You guys think I would win this?
yeah, we all.
Logan sucks at shooting.
Betting on
They suck.
I was betting on Logan. Okay, so what were our actual points? We should figure out.
So far, match 12-20, 11-12, 11-11, 10-58, and then Travis at 8-18.
You guys were 1 point apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were 1 point apart.
Yeah.
Wild.
He should have zeroed another stage.
Yeah. That's wild that he had a whole stage up on Logan. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, unless somebody has anything else exciting that they want to say before we get out of here, I'm just going to end the stream. And then
Go
we're gonna-
pick up some Weekend Gunner hoodies.
Oh, that's
right
true.
here.
Come out here. We have 3 different colorways.
I mean, Logan decided to match with you.
Well, you could find yourself in one of these hoodies or one of our hoodies if you're lucky.
Christ is king. Fuck
Yay.
you. PSA sucks.
Real.
Sig sour. Shoot Sig. You should feel bad about yourself.
Before-
Question your life choices.
Before we get
You gotta read these off, okay?
Take turns.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Silencer Co. Saker 556?
Name first. He wants you to read your name.
All right. Who the fuck cares?
Hey,
thanks for the $5 though.
Silence Co. Steak. Yeah, you're paying for dinner tonight. Silence Co. Steak 556. No idea. I got one. So I don't have any thoughts on it. All right. Pass it off. Logan, you're next.
Okay.
Bible Pew for $4.99 says.
Keep in mind that it hated me first. 19, if you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. We are not loved by world.
Well, you were copy and pasting from somewhere, and you almost got it. But I really appreciate the spirit. Thank you, Bible Pew. Josh goes to Lance.
All right, Josh. This is like an awkward middle school dance where the guys and girls are on different sides of the gymnasium, and only one kid knows how to dance. That's very true, honestly.
Does anyone in here know how to dance?
So fuck no, dude. I can't do that.
Everyone's way too Tylenol to know how to dance. The light sport to Spencer. Give me it.
All right, you got this.
All right, start a gym fund for the group. Heart emoji.
Aww. And Travis gets the last one.
From Zephon, average Magic the Gathering Discord meetup.
Yeah, you're not story. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next week with regular streams, but have a good night. God